This is Mission Qualfon, a monthly podcast that takes you inside the workings of our company, but not just the ins and outs of business. We look at the ideas and insights that make Qualfon truly unique. As a company, we are committed to being the best and making each person's life better. Join us as we get to know and learn from people from across the organization. What's their story? What have they learned? And how do they live out Qualfon's mission? Welcome to Mission Qualfon.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to Mission Qualfon, the podcast. Hello, Jeremy.
Hi, Marisol. How are you?
I am doing very well. We're taping this on a Friday, and I don't know, it just makes it extra exciting for me because
Fridays are fun. Yes.
Yeah, Fridays are fun.
For sure.
I get to do a podcast.
I have been remiss in following up with you on a certain point that you have brought up a couple times, and I feel bad for not following up, but I'll just follow up here on the podcast where lots of people can hear me following up. How are you doing with the Stairway Program? I know you started that back in last season of the podcast. I just wanted to see how it's going.
Let's give a little feedback. Thank you. Thank you so much for asking, Jeremy. I truly appreciate that. The Stairway Program is a program we have here at Qualfon that we encourage all our employees to participate in. What is it called? At your pace?
At your pace, self-paced. Yeah.
Self-paced. I would call it improvement development plan. I think I'm in the 30% of the way through the program.
Okay.
And
so what are you learning about yourself in this program? That's part of the program.
Did you hear that sigh?
I heard that. Yes.
The reason I sighed, let me give some clarity before I get in trouble. The reason I sighed is because for myself, I'm giving my personal experience is, you do one of these exercises, you do one of the surveys or the personality quizzes, there's all these tools in the Stairways program. Mm-hmm. And sometimes you kind of get hit with a realization or an awareness about yourself that frankly, I personally need to walk away from the Stairway program and sit with that for a bit because it can be a bit discombobulating to learn some new information about yourself.
Right.
So that's how it's going for me. And that was the sigh because I recently had two back-to-back ones. One where it was, and again, for outside the company, it's this idea to help us figure out our total vocation, what we want to be doing with our life. The way I like to describe it for myself is what's my purpose? What am I supposed to be doing? And the one had I was like 14 minutes of asking me questions, and the end result said that the most important, I want to phrase this accurately, and I should have made a note, but it was something along the lines of like, what is most important for me as an employee or in my career is spirituality.
Interesting.
Not something anyone who's known me longer than maybe 10 years would be stunned by that, including myself. So that was interesting. And then this last one I did, it was a mentoring exercise, and I had to do it. I was lucky enough to do it. Well, I don't know if it's lucky. I did it with Mike Morrow, our CEO.
Okay.
Also my mentor, and I've known him since I was 23.
Wow.
So he has a particular amount of data about me that he could reveal in his Mike Morrow way. It was all wonderful and good. But it's scary because it's blind spots to yourself that you didn't know, and that to me can feel a little scary. So then I walk away from Stairway.
But that's the beauty of a self-reflection program like Stairway. Is the idea is you get to know yourself a little better, and then you get to know what career things might align best with my strengths and my talents and my interests. So that's just all part of the process. And I commend you for doing that. I think that's great.
Well, thank you. And I think that's a perfect segue into the goal, the intention of this particular podcast and the interview with our guest, who I'm beyond excited to have on, is really, Stairway is just one of so many reasons that I and many others are grateful to work for Qualfon. And prior to working for Qualfon, I can honestly say the only thing I ever thought about was money.
Right.
And I don't think I'm unique in that. And that's not where my mind is anymore. It's not that I don't like or want money. It's more what's more important to me. What do I value more? What am I giving my energy to, my attention to? So the Stairway is just one example of what I would consider my personal employee value proposition. One of the things that I really appreciate about the company is their dedication to me figuring out me so I could be the best version of me.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And I want us to have a podcast sort of being able to share the many, many things about Qualfon. Come work for us.
Right. Yeah.
This is the podcast I want to share. And I thought the perfect person to bring on is someone I actually consider a friend here at Qualfon, one of the first people I really enjoyed connecting with. And in a remote world, is lovely. I'm super excited to introduce and bring onto the podcast our Senior Director of Talent Acquisition, Maria Bruno. Welcome, Maria, to the podcast.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's so exciting.
So I want to ask you about you and how you ended up at Qualfon and everything. But I want to kind of talk a little bit about this position of talent acquisition and recruiting, because in my search for total vocation, there was a pit stop at this possibility of joining talent acquisition and or recruiting. And I realized really early on in my career that I did not have the energy level that a recruiter needs to be a recruiter, because you constantly have to be high energy, everything is high energy, high volume, high stakes, high pressure. Is that an accurate description, would you say, of that environment in our space?
Absolutely. So it's that pick chart, right, from Six Sigma, right? And we're the high work level, but high gains, right? That's talent acquisition. There's definitely a lot of work involved in it, but what we get in return is amazing, right? It is meeting wonderful people and getting that right person for that right job here at Qualfon.
So Maria, I've had the opportunity to be on a few calls with you. Never have met you in person, but I've never met Marisol in person. That's kind of the world we live in right now. But I don't know much about you. And so I would love to hear kind of your backstory. How did you get here at Qualfon? So give us kind of the thumbnail sketch of your career and how you got here to Qualfon and doing what you're doing today.
Oh, wow. So thank you. It is amazing to be here at Qualfon. And actually, I started out as a political science major in college, and then started managing a local flower shop for many years and did all the things that require managing a flower shop, including staffing and finding the right talent for the right role, which led into me wanting to get that shop into becoming a franchisee of 1-800-Flowers.com. And I ended up joining the 1-800-Flowers.com team, and they were pioneering the work-at-home industry. It led me to becoming a virtual trainer for sales and service specialist agents.
Wow. That
led me into recruiting, and that's all they wrote. From there, I ran their talent acquisition and HR team. And from there, I was introduced to the BPO space because we leverage BPO vendors. And that's my journey. And I've been in the BPO space ever since and have been in recruiting ever since. And yeah, I can't believe how many years it is, but I started very young.
A little synchronicity. I was a customer service agent on 1-800-Flowers a couple seasons, a couple Valentine's and Mother's Day seasons. It was a nice way to make some extra income. It was seasonal work when I was in school. So funny little tidbit. Maria, we could probably do a whole podcast on all the challenges anyone, especially in today's market, can have with recruiting. But I wanted to do something on the opposite spectrum of the enthusiasm that I have for Qualfon, the enthusiasm that Jeremy has for Qualfon. We've done so many podcasts where we have examples of agents, including myself and others, who have created amazing careers. And all of us had this common storyline that when we joined the BPO space, we didn't have a career path. A career path wasn't exactly obvious to us. And we were, now looking back, very blessed to have found ourselves in that space, and then now here at Qualfon. And back in the day when I had sites to oversee, I would always love popping in to a new hire class. I loved it because it just loved that energy, that like first couple day jitters and looking around and, just wanting to I don't know, just give some representation and motivation to stick it out through the training and through the nesting periods and to the possible career that they could have. And so that's what I wanted to do with the podcast. And as a recruiter and your enthusiasm, tell us a couple of reasons why you think Qualfon is a special and a different place and Jeremy as well. I mean, I would love it to be a conversation amongst the three of us of why would any one of us be recording ourselves for perpetuity saying, come work for us?
What a wonderful question. And indeed, I've been recruiting for many years now, and there is definitely something different about Qualfon, and the je ne sais quoi is the mission. It absolutely makes a world of difference when you're recruiting to the mission. Before, I was offering someone a new job to improve their life, but now I'm introducing them to a career path that can actually change their life. And it doesn't matter if I'm recruiting an actual recruiter to be part of talent acquisition, or I'm on the front ends really, helping support recruiting agents for a day, which is one of my favorite things to do. I love meeting people that are looking to come into the agent level of what we do. That's really customer service and sales agents are our lifeblood. And it's such an exciting place to meet people. And many times they don't know what they want to do with their career, but then they can leverage their Stairway Program and action. And if they are that special person that actually does know what they want, then they can use our Qualfon University through LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, or Chat to really ascertain the skills they need to further their career dreams. And that's what, for me, makes Qualfon and the mission so very special.
Jeremy, same question for you. What would you say in that first day of a recruiting class? Why should someone come work for us?
Well, and Maria said it so much better than I can, but I completely agree with the mission kind of being the differentiator. And, we've said this before. This has come about on the podcast on a number of times. Every company has a nice mission statement, and many companies do wonderful work and treat their employees great. But what is real here is the fact that when we say we are mission driven, that's true. The mission is really what drives this company, and it's the business that allows us to pursue that mission. We have to have a successfully run business. We have to be smart business people and make good choices and be profitable and all of that. The reason being is that's what supports the mission, which is to make each person's life better. And I really feel that from the top down as I'm able to interact with folks, whether it's our founder, it's our CEO, it's my boss, Al Baranachia, it's Roberto Sanchez Mijurata, our mission. I mean, I could just list a who's who of people that have positively influenced me and everyone in the company over the past several years that I've been here. And it all comes back to what Maria said about the mission being a real, concrete driving force in everything we do here at Qualfon.
Okay, I'm now going to put you on the spot. So, both wonderful answers, but let's put a little meat on that bone, because if you're a new hire and you don't know what the mission is, and you don't want to go back to episode 1 of the podcast and listen all the way through, let's, because we're inside baseball right now. We probably, if someone counted how many times we've said mission, we sound a bit, fanatical. But the truth is, we really are in a very positive way about our job experience here at Qualfon, and it is genuine and it is honest. So I want to put a little bit of meat to the mission, because our mission is be the best and make each person's life better. And like your answer, Jeremy, top down, it's something that we believe. But let's envision a new hire or someone who is listening to this for the first time. What does that mean? And so for me, that means the mentoring that I'm getting, the Stairway Program. When I have a situation outside of my control that affects me or my family, it's the security that I have a company that I can go to and say, this is going on and I need XYZ. We can go to our care coaches, which is a department that's available to everyone for guidance. If I need a prayer, there's countless people I can turn to. And so, that's what it means to me personally. So I'm going to go back around and ask, what does Qualfon mean to you and the mission mean to you specifically? Like, how for you in your personal life does working here personify the mission?
So for me, the most amazing thing is that the mission gives me the opportunity for every new employee that I meet a chance at generational educational opportunities. So a lot of companies now are doing career development or professional development or offering educational opportunities for the employee. But I haven't met one that offers that for not only the person themselves, but their family, their children, if applicable, their grandchildren. That is a gift of generational educational opportunity, which I think is just, it's a game changer. And that, for me, is the most amazing thing. I have my own son is taking part in the Rochette program, and he's doing that while he works full time, because it's created in such a way that you don't have to just be a student. You can work a full-time job and go for business degree, which he is doing, and he loves it. He loves that it's international, that he's learning about the world, not just, the little part of the world that he lives in. And that is very special to me. Also, the mission is not just that, though. It's not just supporting people on an intellectual or a mental level, that we really are holistic, that we support people on their physical level. Most of our facilities have gyms, and we have a really robust employee assistance program that helps people with their physical health or, their mental health. But then it also helps them on that mental level with the educational opportunities through Qualfon University and educational programs. But then there's also that emotional support. With our world the way it is right now, people need connections. Even though we work oftentimes remotely, we have all the fun at work clubs that are remote, where you can connect to your colleagues and not feel isolated in a world that's very virtual. And then ultimately, if you're interested, it leads to that spiritual support. Most of our facilities around the globe have a prayer or meditation room, an active clergy member. And even if you're working remotely, the care coaches are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year for that spiritual support if you need it. And that's just special, because people are not one-dimensional. We're very complicated beings. And that's what makes the mission special to me.
Great answer. Jeremy?
So I'm going to skirt around your question again, because when you said, what would this mean to a new hire agent, to someone starting their first day? And it made me think back to, as a training manager, I would have the opportunity to go in and welcome new agents, so I'd get 15 minutes to go in and talk to a class of new hires. And the message I would always share is I would say, you never have to look for another job again. If you are interested in building a career, you are with the company that will help you do that. And I really believe that our focus on total vocation, on making each person's life better, that is real, and I have over the years seen people, I've been here long enough to see these brand new agents. After a year or so, they become supervisors, and then they move up and become an operations manager. And we have senior people in our company. Doug Wells was one that we talked to on our last episode, who started on the floor as an agent and is now in a C-level position in the company. And that can happen.
Alvaro just got a, didn't he just get a
Alvaro is now a site director. Same thing, right? Started as an agent. And this is a recurring pattern. For folks that want to build a career here at Qualfon, there's ample opportunity. But here's where it gets really exciting. You mentioned Stairway. We've all three mentioned this idea of total vocation. Even if an employee's long-term goal, their 10-year goal, doesn't include Qualfon, you know what? We're okay with that. And we're going to help them prepare for that career even outside of Qualfon. And we've done that by investing in programs like Stairway and the many things that we do offer. And I know for me personally, and I don't mean to sound overly flowery or dramatic, but I honestly feel like I am in a role that I'm supposed to be doing, that aligns with my skills, with my talents, with my interests, my abilities. I am doing what I was meant to be doing. And I don't know how many people can say that, but I believe I can say that. And I'm fortunate that I'm in the position I am here at Qualfon, and that I've got a company that believes so much that they spend money on programs to make this happen. I'm part of a company that believes so much in that they want to help people find that state of total vocation. And that's really cool. I've never experienced that anywhere else.
You did not skirt the question.
Well, good. I'm glad.
Great answer. So, Maria, a thing about you that I love is that we have the CEO Shining Stars Award, and this is an award that's top secret. I mean, it's really top secret. They really try to surprise everyone with the announcement. And I was in the circle that knew because of back-end administrative stuff. And I could not wait till you were announced as a winner, because I was just so happy for you. So tell us, what is a day in the life of a senior director talent acquisition at Qualfon? What is a day in the life for you? Like, what if someone wanted to possibly think about recruiting as a vocation? What are the attributes that make you a shining star?
Oh, that's such a beautiful question. I couldn't believe that I received an award for doing what I love every day of my life. And that's really impacting people's lives for the better, right? And no matter if you're doing it Qualfon, what's extra special is because we have so many programs to help an employee, no matter what level of their career they're on, get to that next level, or maybe even change careers, right? And take a deviation. So it was amazing. But what does my everyday life look like? It's just making sure that we understand the business need, what our business is needing, what our clients are needing, and then ensuring that the recruiters and the talent acquisition managers have all the resources that they need to execute that, and then supporting them as they do meet challenges. I mean, talent acquisition is quite challenging on a global level right now. I'm sure terms like the Great Resignation and the Great Reshuffle are, trending hashtags on everyone's social media. But, there is a reality to many organizations around the world are really experiencing this change and how people are looking at work and what they expect work to be for them, and helping support my team through those waves as we're surfing through the ocean of applicants every day, how to navigate and ride the waves successfully and meet the right people at the right time. Qualfon is uniquely positioned to hire people that want more than just a paycheck or just be a number on a very large spreadsheet. Qualfon is a pathway to bigger and greater things, but we need to be able to get that message out and to remember to say that every day, and all the many things that we're responsible for doing. And we have to lead with that first. And that's probably the most important thing that I think about every day.
Maria, you touched on so many things that are very interesting. The state of the current, global market in terms of the people available to come to work, even, it's so different than anything I've ever seen over my career. And you touched on so many of those things. My question is, with all that we've been through in 2020 and 2021, more work at home things coming along, just the nature of the marketplace in general, what do you see on the horizon for the rest of this year and on into 2022? What's the near future going to look like for us?
What a wonderful question. And that's what I love about talent acquisition. It's always exciting and new every day. And, certainly here at Qualfon, we have a Six Sigma process called end-to-end, big N to little n. And it's a process driven that is global. We can do it at any location in the world. And as we went through a transition of more remote work, we were able to take that process that everyone knew and leverage it in a remote way. And it was very successful. The big focus for 2022 is going to be moving our focus onto the small n. Most organizations, the biggest metric for recruiting is fill rates, but we're moving away from that and we're really focusing on little n. And so I should probably describe what little n is and big N is. So big N is casting that net as wide and far as possible to meet as many applicants as possible, and then the whole process of screening them and assessing and finding the right person for the right job here at Qualfon. And the little n is everything that happens training and afterwards. So the big N is really getting people, meeting them, sourcing them, screening them, interviewing them, getting them assessed, getting them ready to go through onboarding and orientation with us, and minding the gap before they start training. And then once they start training, the little n part starts, right? Really making sure that they're having an amazing training and experience and transition into nesting or OJT and then into production. So really the definition of the little n is 5 days into production. That is the number that's important to our clients. That's the number of, hey, we need 100 people to answer our phone calls. And that is that little n number. So obviously the big N is a lot larger than 100. But the little n is that 100 and achieving that number each and every time. And that is where our focus is really going to be shifting. A lot of our reporting and a lot of our training and for our recruiting staff is going to be that focus. Maybe sometimes we needed 150 people, but we hired 140, but the little n was still 100. And if we hired 140, but we still achieved the 100, maybe we really didn't need to hire 150 to achieve the 100. Maybe 140 was just right to achieve that little n or small n 100. And that is really what's our focus.
So let me just sneak in and interject really quick. For those outside of the company or the industry, when a client asks us for 50 agents, they mean 50 agents in production servicing their customers. And that's our ultimate goal. So traditional measures like the number we hire, graduation rates, etc., those are all important stepping stones towards that most important measure of agents in production, which is what we call little n.
Absolutely. And part of our employee value proposition is really understanding the market and what the people are telling us. And in our end-to-end process, we actually assess every candidate that we meet through a survey, a daily survey. And one of the questions is the employee value proposition question. What is important to the people? And it's interesting, we have seen that shift happen since 2019 to almost 2022, where people's answers to that question has changed. And so we continue to read those results with the support of the amazing Poet team and making sure that we have the beat of what's important to people right now in the market.
Well, thank you so much, Maria, for joining us on the podcast. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you, and I hope that it wasn't too brutal for you.
It was a joy and a pleasure, and it was really great getting a chance to spend time with you, Marisol, in Germany.
Well, Jeremy, that's episode 38.
38 and counting. Yes.
38. We got some great responses on Doug Wells's on our last podcast too. A lot of our internal staff found that very motivating. So I thought that was sweet.
If you look at Doug's, there's a common thread here. I'm just thinking of this. We talked with Doug, who started as an agent and is now one of our chief operating officers in the company. We had Maria on for this episode, and her job is really attracting folks to the company to kind of get them in the door to begin this whole process that Doug went through, right? I just think that's kind of cool. And we kind of started out this episode talking about Stairway, and Stairway, of course, ties directly into this whole notion that we have, this mission that we have of helping folks pursue their total vocation.
You know, I feel like I've been on a chasing my total vocation for years, probably since at least when I turned 40. And it's totally a different, I mean, I probably spent a small fortune of my own personal, I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I probably spent a small fortune in personal money in self-development on my own, just for myself. And to have it, a lot of it, I haven't finished, I can't say all of it, but to have a lot of it put in this space, and then for a company to really encourage us to do that process of self-development, it's just a different feel, because when you're doing it on your own, it could be overwhelming, because it just could be overwhelming to try to really figure out, you know, what one's total vocation is, what one's purpose is. And, you know, I think sometimes it's hard because, I don't know, you grow up kind of thinking it has to be this one thing, and it has to do with a lot of money, or it has to do with this title or fame or whatever personal beliefs you grew up thinking. And there are very few people I know who knew what they wanted to be when they grew up.
Right.
Some did. From the moment they were little, their calling was very obvious and relevant to them. But for many of us, it still isn't. You know, I love what I'm doing. I love the company I work for. We sound a little fanatical. My friends, that's what they say to me.
Right.
You know, we'll go out to have lunch and catch up, and I will, you know, so every other aspect of my life is kind of monotone. But when I talk about my career, I light up. I get really excited about the projects I'm working on, the company I'm working on, and feeling really good about my career, and more importantly, feeling really good about the company I'm working for. That truly in my career is a new experience. And I feel it lines up a lot with, you know, what I feel a lot of people are going through. There's more than what the paycheck is, as far as what I value and how I'm exchanging my labor for, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that's
totally, yeah.
But I want to serve a greater good, and I do that with Qualfon and the mission. So I can't. It's a circular answer. Still, you know, I've been described as complicated many a time. So I don't know what my total vocation is, but I feel that I'm on the way.
That's awesome.
Well, Jeremy, we've got 2 more episodes left in this season. I don't think I'm going to be done with Stairway before the end of the season, but again, it is self-paced.
Well, we'll check in on you.
So now I'm thinking this might be a season 3 graduation of Stairway, because it literally the last exercise I did, I got some new information, and my mentor was like, it's going to take you the weekend to process. Mm-hmm. I was like, yeah, it just might. So,
well, what a great process to go through, though. I mean, what a great thing to be able to learn more about yourself, and that's a big value with the Stairway program. And then, on top of that, think about how lucky you are to have a company that focuses on mentorship, and specifically a CEO in the person of Mike Morrow that is your mentor. And man, what a great opportunity that is. And it's awesome that Mike invests his own personal time and energy into mentoring others, and that our company puts that emphasis on this idea of mentorship and total vocation. It's really awesome.
I daily feel lucky for my career and for my mentorship with Mike. He really does take the mentoring very, very seriously. So on that note, let us bid adieu for another podcast. And thank you for everyone who's listening. Please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really does help. And really, I cannot tell you enough how much we appreciate the feedback that we receive on the podcast. Mm-hmm. Everyone who takes a couple seconds to send Jeremy and I a note it's just lovely. It makes me feel like I'm doing my total vocation. So thank you.
Bye, Marisol.
Bye, Jeremy.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Mission Qualfon. Remember, you can find us wherever you listen to podcasts. Please subscribe, and we'll see you next time on Mission Qualfon.